Welcome to the movie tour. My name is Vic. I will be your tour guide through the world of the Mask of Zorro. Do keep in mind this tour has definite spoilers and absolutely no carving the letter Z on walls is permitted. So grab your trusty Steve Tornado, put on your masks, and hop on the tour cart as we explore the Puss in Boots origin story. Giddy up, let's go. Woo! The Mask of Zorro came out in 1998 and it cost $95 million to make. Worldwide, it grossed just over $250 million bucks. It was nominated for 2 Oscars and was directed by Martin Campbell, who also directed the sequel. He is also known for his work directing Casino Royale and his latest films Protégé and... what was the other movie called? Oh, Memory. Robert Rodriguez was originally attached to direct the project as well, but the studio didn't want the much more violent R-rated film that he had envisioned. Steven Spielberg also almost directed the film, but decided not to as he was busy with making Saving Private Ryan at the time. He did, however, stay on as an executive producer. Zorro was a classic character that was first introduced in 1919 to the world in a magazine, All Story Weekly. The character was created by writer Johnston McCulley and has had so many renditions and variations over the years, showing up in comic books, he showed up in TV shows, films, and yes, he even heavily inspired the hilarious Puss in Boots that we first meet in the movie Shrek 2. In fact, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a new movie that just came out in December of 2022, and it stars the Zorro actor himself, Antonio Banderas. The movie even currently has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. That movie's crushing it because The Mask of Zorro only has an 83%. The movie starts with an execution. Zorro saves the day and sets the doomed men free, with some awesome sword fighting and swashbuckling. Bob Anderson was actually the one behind all of the sword choreography, and he's worked on films such as Star Wars and The Princess Bride. Oh, Zorro, never bring a sword to a gunfight, unless the bad guys aren't going to use the guns? I guess the sword will work. Joaquin and Alejandro help the masked man in the fight, and he returns the favor by awarding one of them a necklace. Zorro here is played by Anthony Hopkins. He actually almost wasn't even able to take this role due to back problems. In fact, the character was also offered to Sir Sean Connery, who turned it down. I'm kind of glad he did though, because I think Hopkins is the perfect fit for this film. Next up we meet Don Rafael Montero, played by Stuart Wilson. He is our antagonist and the planner of the whole execution. Zorro tells the Don to leave Mexico and ne'er return, and then he rides off into the sunset. Zorro heads home to his wife and daughter through a Batman-esque fireplace, but Don Rafael shows up to his house to arrest Diego de la Vega. He knows that he is in fact Zorro, and in their fight, Esperanza, Diego's wife, is shot and killed. De la Vega is arrested, and Don Rafael takes Elena as his own. This is where we see how truly dumb the antagonist is. He kidnaps Zorro's daughter and doesn't kill him right then and there. Like, he knows what Zorro's capable of, and he doesn't do anything about it? Rookie mistake, man. 20 years have passed, and we see Joaquin and Alejandro Murrieta. They are all now grown up, and they are wanted men. The two, along with their help of their friend Three-Finger Jack, rob some officers but get caught by Captain Harrison Love and his men. Jack gets shot, and Joaquin takes his own life, so they don't get the satisfaction of killing him themselves. Alejandro watches devastated and retrieves his necklace. Now, Alejandro Murrieta is a fictional brother to Joaquin Murrieta, a real-life Mexican criminal who was killed by the California State Rangers, led by the real-life Harry Love. He also killed the real-life Three-Finger Jack, and just like in the movie, he apparently kept both Murrieta's head and Jack's hand preserved in an alcohol-filled jar as we see them later on in the film. It's very disturbing. Don Rafael comes to a prison in search of Zorro, and in all of the commotion, Diego de la Vega manages to escape the prison by posing as a dead prisoner. This is a very similar escape to that of Edmond Dantes in The Count of Monte Cristo. If you haven't seen that movie and you like The Mask of Zorro, I think you would love it. Go check out The Count of Monte Cristo right now. Actually, wait till the video's over, then go check out The Count of Monte Cristo. I promise you will not regret it. Don Rafael believes Zorro to be dead and comes to California as the new governor. Here we see Elena is all grown up and played by Catherine Zeta-Jones. Alejandro is drunk and De La Vega happens to be passing by and sees him with the pendant. He stops the drunk man from attempting to fight his brother's killer, telling him that he's in no condition to attempt it. He offers to train him and lets him know that he was once the legendary Zorro. He wants to return the favor for the help that he gave him all of those years ago. The training begins, and here is where we get this gem of a line.
Do you know how to use that thing?
Yes. The pointy end goes into the other man.
He literally gets whipped into shape. It has been said that the director Martin Campbell originally didn't want the whip to be part of the movie, but Hopkins thought that the whip was a necessary part of Zorro's ensemble, and he practiced daily to get the tricks correct. And the weapon was even gifted to the actor in the end. Alejandro goes to procure a horse and he runs into Elena on the way. Did you know that Shakira was approached to play this role? She could carve a Z into our minds with those hips. Now, I'm not sure if she's a great actress, but she definitely makes a great gazelle. In fact, it was due to her lack of acting background and inability to speak great English at the time that she was eventually passed on. Penelope Cruz and Salma Hayek were also considered for the role. Zorro makes a mess of what was supposed to be a stealthy mission surrounded by a bunch of angry men. He now has to use his newfound skills to escape with his life. Using a cannon, he escapes with his life. He runs to a nearby church and hides in a confession box. Tell me this, why is it that in so many movies, churches seem to just always be opened? Are they 24 hours just in case like a character might need sanctuary? Is this how churches really are? Am I really that bad of a Christian that I just have no idea? I need to go back to church. Elena just happens to be inside as well, and she confesses that she looked at a masked man with lust. And of course, Alejandro just loves it. Captain Love and his men enter the church, but Alejandro escapes without being seen. He manages to get a horse and he carves a Z into the wall, letting the world know that Zorro has returned. Zorro, I said no carving Z's into walls during the tour. Nobody ever listens to me. Nobody ever listens to me. The governor is having a party and the two men dress up and go find out what Don Rafael Montero is planning. And now it's time for the Movie Tour Pit Stop, where I test your knowledge of the film and ask you a trivia question. The question is, when Alejandro is dressed up for the first time as a Don, he says, "Look at me, I look like a blank." Was it A, a gentleman, B, a butterfly, C, a woman, or D, a peacock? Lock in your best answers down below, and we'll get to the answer at the end of the tour. Alejandro introduces himself as a very charming and respectable Don. You know, I'm not buying how much of a gentleman Alejandro has become. In one scene, he goes from a drunkard thief to an intelligent and intellectual Don. He even becomes the greatest dancer in the whole world. Look, I have never been much of a dancer, but if I had to learn any dance, it'd be this one. Like, I need to be as cool as Antonio Banderas is in this scene. Antonio Banderas plays Alejandro with such an amazing amount of charm and grace. He is the perfect fit for this character. However, there were other contenders for the role. Mark Anthony and Tom Cruise were also considered for the character. The dance ends up catching the eyes of Montero, and he invites him to the courtyard to learn of his new vision, a plan to make the independent Republic of California and acquire Santa Ana by way of purchase. He shows them a gold bar and asks them all to return tomorrow. The next morning, they pull up to a worksite filled with slaves, and Montero calls it El Dorado. They are digging up gold in Santa Ana with the plan to change the logo on the bars to make it seem like the gold is coming from Spain. But in reality, they're gonna buy Santa Ana with their own gold. Three Finger Jack is there. Turns out he wasn't dead. He calls them names and they shoot him. Alejandro watches his friend die, and he has to keep it together. Captain Love has now killed his brother and his friend. He then invites him to his office and shows him Three Finger Jack's hand in a jar and his brother's head. He knows exactly who Alejandro is, but for some reason, he lets him walk out. Elena is in an outdoor market when her old nanny runs into her, and I think it's weird that she recognizes her even though she hasn't seen her since she was a baby. She tells her that she used to hang flowers on her crib when she was little, and that her mom's last name was actually De La Vega. Later on, we see Diego carving a Z into a field with fire near Montero, so that way Alejandro can sneak in and grab some documents. He comes across Captain Love, and now it's time to swashbuckle. Montero comes in to join the fight. Why are sword fights just so much fun to watch? I need to take a fencing class like yesterday. He flees from the men and into a stable where Elena is waiting with a sword. She wants whatever he stole from her back and she wants it now. When he says no, we get a strip sword fight. Wow, I didn't think that sword fighting could get any better, but I was proven wrong. He steals a few kisses and then cuts off her top. Catherine Zeta-Jones actually admitted that she was actually aroused during the scene. Trust me, she wasn't the only one. Let's watch that clip again. De La Vega goes to Montero and has him call for Elena. Montero calls Diego by his last name, De La Vega, and Elena immediately knows Diego is her real father. Elena goes to Diego's cell and breaks him out. Back at El Dorado, Captain Love prepares to destroy all of the evidence and kill the workers before Santa Anna can find out that they dug the gold from their own land. The two Zorros hash it out, but in the process, El Dorado sets ablaze. The slaves are in danger and Elena has to go and set them free. The battle grows in intensity as the fuse to the explosives gets lit again. Alejandro stabs Captain Love. Diego flings Montero and the gold off the cliff. The slaves are freed and just in time. And kaboom! El Dorado is engulfed in a fiery explosion, wood flying everywhere. Everyone makes it out, and Diego has finally avenged his wife and gotten his daughter back. It was actually Antonio Banderas' idea here to have De La Vega put their hands together as a way to say that he approves of their love. Then he dies in Elena's arms. We then see Alejandro telling the story to his new son, Joaquin, named after his brother. We get a kiss between Alejandro and Elena, and the movie ends there. The movie did have a sequel, The Legend of Zorro, where it follows Alejandro on more great adventures. Now there is more Zorro potential in the future. Catherine Zeta-Jones has come out saying that she would love to see a female version of Zorro come out, similar to that of the female Ocean's 11 or female Ghostbusters. She also said who she thinks would be perfect for the next Elena or potential Lady Zorro. She chose her National Treasure co-star, Lisette Oliveira. Antonio Banderas has also stated who he thinks would be perfect to play the next Zorro. Banderas has stated that he'd love to make another Zorro movie where he would pass the torch on like Anthony Hopkins did to him. Banderas has chosen the actor that he'd wish to pass the torch onto as well, and that would be his Uncharted co-star Tom Holland. There is also news of a TV show coming to Disney Plus starring Fez from That 70s Show. That's right, Wilmer Valderrama would be playing Diego de la Vega in this show. But the show has been delayed so many times, I'm just in high hopes that it will reach us soon. Now let's get back to our movie tour pit stop. The question was, when Alejandro is dressed for the first time as a Don, he says, "Look at me. I look like a blank." Was it A, a gentleman, B, a butterfly, C, a woman, or D, a peacock?
Look at me. I look like a butterfly. This is the most stupid thing I've ever done. I doubt that.
Did you get it right? If you did, like the video so I know you got it. Well, we have reached the end of the tour. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end. It really means a lot to me, and it would mean a lot to me as well if you would hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future tours. This doesn't mean peace. This is V for Vic. So whenever you guys do this, it no longer means peace. Now you're just talking about me, and I appreciate that. Much love.